wants to go to Mingo House? Who's called by God to go to Mingo House? And they were joined by 2 other families, 2 other individuals, with a total of 14 people. And our mission was very, very simple. It's to share a vision, obtain a vision of Mingo House and our ministry, share it with the congregations, because we support them every month. And then foster our partnership, grow our partnership with Mingo House and our ministry. It's really quite an amazing ministry. I've known Pastor Danny for a couple decades now, and I've never gone to Mingo House. It blew my mind when I went to Mingo House what the ministry was like. So I just want to share this with you. Next, please. So here we are. We're going at O'Hare. And our journey began on a late Friday night next, and a 20-hour flight. So it's not easy to get there, that's for sure. One plane, we stopped by, kind of wanted to grab some noodles, got onto another plane. Finally, 20 hours later, we ended up in Chiang Mai. So it's a long journey, it's a long road. We were received by Mingo House, and as you saw in the video, they welcomed us with this banner. It was just an amazing experience, actually. All this preparation and things like that, going into a long travel, just to be met with these welcoming faces was a true blessing. So, this day was a whirlwind. You gotta understand, 20 hours, barely any sleep, and we had to go through a whole Sunday. We got there in the morning. We basically got to meet the staff really quick, including the 2 dogs next. And then we got a quick tour of the campus. The campus is really an amazing place. So here's a Google Maps. The main building is the office, the men's dorms, and the sanctuary. This building here is the women's dorms and Pastor Danny's residence. And then finally they have this shipping container converted into offices and classrooms. So one of our members shared how the expectation of missions is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And I won't lie, it wasn't easy, but Pastor Danny really put a great effort into making it as comfortable as possible. So this was my room, my family's room, and we shared, this room, and it was air conditioned. It had its own fridge and washer. It's pretty amazing facility and amazing campus. Yes. So. They say in missions, you gotta be flexible. We thought we had a couple hours to settle in, but no, we had to go straight into worship, and Pastor John was actually speaking, so he disappeared. He's like, I gotta prepare, and he disappeared. And this was our first experience with all the kids, and it was a true blessing just to see everyone worship. And one of the things about worship is that worship is across the nation. It's very similar. And then finally we got a chance to settle in, and see Katie is up to spirits here. We had a lot to do. We had all these donations that our church provided, and we had to organize these and distribute them to Mingo House. Nice. Then we went into games. These were the icebreakers, which I led, which I'm not very good at, but I tried my best. And then finally, the night market. And this was a little glimpse of night. So this was just our first day. I mean, we were all smashed by this day. But it was such a great first day. It really set the tone for the rest of our trip. Next day, we just did a supply run. We divided into teams, ate a lot of KFC. We did a lot of KFC this trip. And then as these kids go to school, we had to just basically get all the supplies, including we were providing dinner. So led by Chef Susan, we basically had tteokbokki. Apparently tteokbokki is one of their favorite meals, and so we decided to make that, and it was more like tteokbokki, and we distributed that as a gift of appreciation to Mingo House. Every morning we got up, and right after breakfast we met and we had devotionals. This is our chance to meet with Pastor Danny, and this is Minmai, the director of the Mingo House Orphanage, and they gave us their testimony, the history behind Mingo House, the current struggles of Thailand, and this is what I wanted to share with you because we learned a lot from these. So, to be Thai, culturally speaking, is to be Buddhist. And if you look that up, I did a lot of research on that. A lot of Christianity is not really a welcomed religion. Not that it's ostracized, not that it is penalized or anything like that, but it's viewed as a Western religion. So there's a lot of cultural barriers there. 200 years of missionary work, and we have 1% Christian population there. It's pretty bleak Christian sort of picture. As a developing country, they're really overrun by a prosperity gospel. The church itself can be pretty divided. And then Pastor Danny finds out when his graduates graduate, leave Maple House, they're struggling spiritually. There's not really any place that they can go and grow and continue to be discipled. Thanks. It's also, Maple House, obviously Pastor Danny had this calling to be a light in Thailand, right? In a place of darkness, but he also provides very practically, every practical need. So he tries to help them come out of poverty. And so this is very difficult in Thailand. They have a latent caste. It's not official, but it is pretty ingrained in their culture and in society. Title-based, there's a lot of things where if you're in the lower socioeconomic class, it's hard to get up. A lot of them are in rural areas which are isolated from all the resources. And so even though Thailand is a developing, very successful country, the rural areas still struggle, and they have a hard time. And then finally, refugees and migrants. Next slide. These are people running from their countries because of conflict, right? So if you look at where Maple House is located, it's in the northern side of Thailand. So it's bordering Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. And Myanmar is composed of 7 states. And if you look at this timeline, they are constantly in conflict. Modern Myanmar has not known peace. It has gone from war to glimpses of democracy, to more war, military rule, couple of assassinations, lots of coups, and then right now they find themselves in civil war. And so a lot of these migrants and refugees are leaving the country just to find some shelter, to find relief from this conflict. And that's a lot of Pastor Danny's children are from these areas. Even though it's an orphanage, Pastor Danny doesn't just limit his outreach to just orphans, but also to the poor, to those in need. So a lot of the stories, a lot of the testimonies are from kids who are part of that scenario. So that's the background. What's it like to live as a kid in Maple House? It is a well-oiled machine. It really is. I mean, it's just amazing how the kids are so independent. If you look at their structure, each room has its own washer, has multiple kids that are from older to younger, and the older are tasked to lead and teach the younger. They are self-sufficient. They're doing their own laundry. They cook their own meals. If you looked at the earlier slide, there is a chore list that they do. They go to school, come back, do their chores, get dinner ready, clean up, and then do night classes or night clubs for the kids. The older kids are running for the younger kids. So it's really a well-developed process where you are graduating into autonomy. And that's just an amazing thing to watch. I mean, I look at how hands-off it could be. It just really ran itself. So it was an amazing experience. Thanks. The next slide is actually the weekends. We got a glimpse of what their weekends are like. Oh, by the way, they wash their dishes too. We got a glimpse of their weekends, and this was the only time they had free time, really. And so you can see barefoot even, they enjoyed just playing around. So what does their nights look like after they come home from 4:30 to 5:30? After dinner, what is their nights? Well, this is their nights, and this is where we contribute probably the most. It's through their kids club. It's 1 hour before dinner, and then 2 1-hour sessions after dinner. So it's 3 classes a night. And Liz met with Pastor Danny and asked him, what do you want us to do? The next slide, please. And this is where a lot of our work came into play, where he asked us just to be practical. We weren't, shoving gospel. We weren't trying to do VBS or anything like that. All he wanted was practical skills. Something, and for the younger kids to inspire them to light a fire through STEM or any of those science industries so that they can pursue education. See, education is really difficult in Thailand in a sense because you're really, the road to education, you're stuck in a single path after graduating high school, and it's really hard to divert from that path. There's a lot of effort going into to all that education, and then in the end, you may or may not see payoff financially. So a lot of these kids struggle to want to even stay in education. They don't see education as a way out of poverty. So we ran these classes. You saw some videos in these slides here. We did anything from crafts to science experiments, coding classes, Excel and PowerPoint classes, chess class. We just did as much as we can to help them just to grow, equip them in the little time that we have, just to again ignite that fire. The other half of our day was labor projects. So we started out with a couple plans, but some of them fell through because we couldn't find some supplies. But we really concentrated on the murals. And so initially we had a mural that we had to do from scratch because it had our whole church name on it. But then Pastor was like, why don't you just renew all these other murals? So it really kept us busy, and that's what we did most of the days before that. And then Pastor John also, from the money that we raised, created this computer lab for them to use. They don't really have, they have a bunch of laptops that are old, so this was their first computer lab, which was nice. Just wanted to sneak in here at the infant ministry. We didn't have much of a chance to interact with them in Susan, but they just started the ministry within the last year and a half or 2 years, and it's a full-time job really. So they have these kids now, and they're looking to growing more, and it's something that they've never done, but they are starting to do. So if you can pray for their infant ministry, next. So our Friday, we had our last day, we had somewhat of a free day, and so we had a chance to sort of go around Chiang Mai, but some of us came here to Mingo House Farm. If you look at our shirts, it says Mingo House Farm. This is one of their future projects. Next. This is the only picture, next slide. This is the only picture I have of Frankie. He was in the room over there. So Frankie is somebody from LA who is in the hospitality industry. He's already started a couple of successful restaurants in LA. He's going to Mango House, Thailand, full time. And then what he's doing is they bought this 3-point-something acre property. He's going to live there full time, starting I believe in October. And he's going to start. See that in the background? There's this nice rice paddies there. He's going to try to change what the jungle you see in front of you into the patties behind there. And then he's trying to do a concept of farm-to-table restaurant. And this will serve not only financially for Mango House, but also as a vocational training area. So they want to train people in the hospitality industry for their future education. So I think it's a great project. It's really exciting to go. I'm glad to have gone there to see what's like, and I'm excited to see what's going to be like in the future. Next. So that was pretty much all we did in terms of our activities. Our Friday was a nice day where some of us went shopping, got massages, and things like that. So it was a nice way to close our trip. Next. And we ended in a barbecue dinner that we provided the meat as a church, just to fellowship and spend time together. Came in, capped our missions project there, leading praise, and then we had a time of prayer. And this ended up being a lot of our members' favorite moments because we had one-on-one time. We spent the whole week talking to all these kids, but this is where we actually talked a lot about spirituality. And one of the lessons is that these kids are kids. Like all across all orders, they have the same needs, they have the same desires, they have the same struggles. It was great to talk to them and pray for them. Really, a lot of this trip was just to get to know the kids, but to get to know the ministry and report to you, to show you and share with you how we can continue to support this ministry. So you may or may not notice there's a QR code in the corner. That goes directly to the Elijah Foundation, which is the foundation for them, where they raise their money and share their resources. So just want to close off with what to pray for. Now this is from their last paper. The infant ministry, they need some resources, a lot of formula, typers, etc., and a lot of care. Continue to pray for their staff and volunteers. Continue financial and material support. I mean, not only do they take care of shelter and food, etc., but they also take care of college tuition if they go. It's quite a program. They want a church plant in the future, so please pray for that, and pray for the future of Mango House Farm. And lastly, I just want to thank everyone for for your support. I mean, it was a true blessing. Liz has printed a profile booklet and had it put in a binder. It's in the fellowship hall. Please review that and just pray for the kids. But again, it's kind of like watching one of the UNICEF type of commercials until you go there. So if you were thinking, if you feel God tugging in your heart to go, I would recommend you going. It doesn't even have to be as a team. As a church, I think